Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melissa Morganson, and my show is called National Prison Disaster. Tonight, my guest is Serena Buey. Now, Serena is a mother of a young man that was incarcerated in the state of Georgia. And the most tragic thing that can possibly happen has happened. She has lost her son, Kedrick Buey, while he was incarcerated. And so before I give out any more details, please let me welcome Serena Buey. Serena, thank you for coming on tonight.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
And I would just like to jump right in. First of all, as you know, all of us share our deepest sympathies for the loss of your son. And as you and I have discussed, it is somewhat worse when your son was incarcerated when he passed because there are no real answers to your story. And so there is constantly a video going in your mind, in your memory, of what it possibly could have been like because you really don't know. So, Serena, why don't we just start at the beginning? You got a phone call from the prison, did you not?
Yes, I did. On August the 13th, it was 10 minutes to 11. And the phone call where one of the female correctional officers who worked there called me and told me that they had found my son dead. And
now,
once they called,
let me just interject here for a minute. What did you know about Kedrick's situation the day before he died? Because you did have a phone call from him. And he had been in solitary for some time, had he not?
Yes, he had. He called me that Saturday, which was August the 12th, 2017, and we talked for a minute, and he was letting me know that he was going to call me the next following day, and he made it clear that, you know, the reason that he was there to stay out of trouble, to keep, you know, because he was having issues. So we had a good talk that day, and the next day we sent out e-brokers, and I get a phone call. My son was found dead.
Okay. I can just imagine that your stomach just fell right out, down on the ground. Now, okay, what was the first step after that? What exactly did they tell you? Who did they give you to talk to about this?
Well, they gave me his counselor number, which was Mr. Rhymes, and I talked to Mr. Rhymes. Mr. Rhymes said something was going on that floor that particular morning, but he wasn't able to go to find out what was going on. So, therefore, he gave me Mr. Wendell Walkoff's number, and he said that he was a chaplain, and he would be the person that I would talk with as far as making arrangement as far as get your body. And so we did talk and made arrangement. Mr. Wendell asked me if I wanted to cremate Ketchert. I told him no. He asked me if I wanted to have the funeral down, which would be no cost, and I would have to come up with any money. And I told him no. I told him I wanted my son's body transferred to Birmingham. So
okay. Now this chaplain, Wendell. I'm trying to get into how you were treated by this man. Was he forthcoming with information, or was he rather bullish with you about the whole situation?
Well, he made it. Well, after we criminalized Ketchert, I called him back, and I was trying to find out what was going on. Well, he had already made it clear that if I got a death certificate, I would be lucky to get that I wouldn't be able to get an autopsy report or any other additional information. So I kept calling, so I ended up calling GBI. They let me know that Mr. Wendell had his name on my son, Kettrick Bowie, as the next of kin, and they could not release any information until he took his name off.
Okay, so next of kin, the chaplain, Wendell,
yes,
has his name as next of kin, and he's not kin, is he?
No.
Not at all related to your son. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And, after then, it took him 3 months before he took his name off because I wasn't able to get any information until, I want to say it was November the 14th, maybe the 20th of 2017 was when I was able to start getting information. When I started getting the information, I got the death certificate, I got the autopsy report, toxicology report, and other information. And it didn't sit with me in my spirit as a mom. I knew that...
What didn't sit with you? What was in the autopsy report? Did you understand it?
The autopsy report was stating the cause of the death, which was the coronary artery disease, hypertension, and obesity. But it also stated that he had trauma to the head, blunt force trauma to the torso. He had different abrasions on his body. It was other different things that was going on with Kettrick's body. On top of that, Kettrick at the funeral home,
okay. Let me backtrack just a little bit, Serena. I know this is upsetting for you, sweetie. What was your understanding as far as where Tedrick's body was during this period of time? Was it mentioned to you that he was in the hospital?
No. I didn't get any information. No one would tell me anything. I called different hospitals, different funeral homes, trying to find out where his body was at. And I couldn't get no information. And it took like about 5 days before I was able to find out where his body was at, and that was all the information I got. So he died on the 13th.
Did you try? What happened when you tried to get other information? You did manage to get a copy of the autopsy report. And what was it the coroner said to you when you asked about other, for instance, what happened? I mean, he hadn't had any medical treatment while he was in prison for his heart disease. Had he? Had he been seen while he was in there?
No, the autopsy doctor found out that I was trying to get information, so he called me on the 15th of December, 2017, and we was missing contact because I was at work. We talked on December 16th at 8 o'clock that morning. Once he tried to explain about the heart and all of that, at the end of the conversation, I asked him, I said, were the trauma to my son's body, was it fresh? Was it old? He said, Ms. Boo, I can't explain it, but it had to happen the day before or the day of his death.
I see. Okay. How many days did it take until Tedrick's body arrived at the mortuary?
To get from from Atlanta to Birmingham, it was from the 13th. His body didn't get here till the 23rd, and we was getting ready because we was having the funeral on that Saturday. So that
was 10 days, 11 days, 10 days. That's quite puzzling to me. I don't understand why it would take so long for such a thing to happen. Now, I know this is very difficult for you. Let me help walk you through this, okay? I want to know the condition of Kedrick's body when you viewed it? What did you notice?
Well, with his doing his body, I noticed that at the funeral home that Kedrick's fist was balled up. It was balled up, and I also noticed that even though that they put embalming fluid in him, but he was swollen. It's like he was extra swollen, like, you know, he was actually too big for the casket. So I seen where he had a mark on his face, on the top of his forehead, like a little cut. I didn't get a chance to really check it out like I wanted to because it was just like a dream. It didn't seem real that my son was gone. It just didn't seem real. So,
was there something about a shoe?
Well, the autopsy also stated that they were going to get rid of all of Kedrick's belongings from that particular day of his death. They was finna incinerate it. Kedrick was found with one shoe on, which was the orange shoe. One shoe on, one shoe off. They also it also stated he had on 2 pair of boxers and he had on an orange 2-piece jumper. So
yeah, well, I'm just going to say it. It almost sounds to me as if he was putting on his shoes. He's missing. He has one shoe on. Okay, so you did view his body, and of course, this brought many more questions, did it not? And it made you angry. Of course, was the Department of Corrections in Georgia cooperating with giving you more information, or did you need to get a lawyer?
Well, I had to end up getting a lawyer because they wouldn't. I mean, I buried him looking at him, not even knowing what happened to him. So, no, they didn't cooperate. No, they did not give me enough information. No, it was very hard to get in contact with them. I ended up getting a lawyer in January of 2019. He said that I had a case. He knows something had happened in August the 6th of 2019. He dropped the case a week before the deadline limitation.
Yeah, that's important, ladies and gentlemen. I want my viewers to take note that the lawyer, interestingly enough, first of all says, yes, you have a case, and then he just sits on it until a week before the limitations run up. And so at that point, Serena, you went ahead and filed again on your own.
Yes.
And what happened?
I filed on my own. I had someone to help me, and I was able to get in there, but the information that they was asking for, I was unable to give the information because of the fact that he's my son and I'm his mother and I'm not a lawyer. So it ended up, I went down there to Georgia at least 2, maybe 3 different times to give information, but the judge, it was like he wanted me to go into detail with who or what, but I can't explain something that I don't know, but I do know that it was a person, it was some people, but I can't explain who it was. And I know it was correction officer because Ketch was on lockdown.
Yes, that's one fact. Not only that, Serena, he definitely was on lockdown, but you coincidentally had a son that was incarcerated at that time. And also, my viewers, I want you to know, I read the autopsy report. It clearly states that Kedrick's bruises are 4 inches wide. It definitely describes the tip of a baton. that the correction officers carried. Now, you had a son who was incarcerated at the same time, and he heard some pretty crazy rumors about what happened, scary rumors, did he not?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
those
he did.
rumors, go ahead and tell us what.
Well, he was told that his brother was beaten, and that it was by the correctional officer, and it was more than 3. By him being incarcerated, well, went back because of something simple. The guys didn't want their name mentioned, but they was letting him know, which Piedmont had already heard from different people, that it didn't happen like that, that he was beaten. And on the morning of Ketcher's death, his identical twin brother picked up all the symptoms, but we never put it together until maybe a couple of weeks or a month later that something had to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that covers Sylvina's story, ladies and gentlemen. As you can imagine, it's very devastating for her. As I mentioned before, there's no closure when something like this happens because we don't know what really happened to him. And so let's please pray for Serena and her family. I want to mention that Cedric Buey has a twin brother. His brother and he are twins, were twins. And, of course, that's a huge loss to his twin brother as well. This story, as you can tell, reeks of corruption and cover-up. And it's just one of many. That is what National Prison Disaster is about. And if you have a personal story you want to share, get in touch with Melissa Morganson. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that went well. What do you think, Serena?
Yeah, it did. It just, I'd be okay, but once I did, it's like it does.